Another AFC test for us this week. Interconference battle. There were teams 3-0 playing really good offense. The quarterback's playing at a high level. They're running the ball very good. They got a lot of players back from a year ago. They added Diggs, so they're a formidable opponent.
Hey, Paul, you guys have had issues getting off the field on third downs. What do you think's been the reasons behind that, and then how can you improve in that area moving forward?
Actually, I thought last week we did a better job of that. I think they were 3 of 11 on third down. You know, a couple of them were short 3rd and 2s. They ran the ball on the perimeter on us. But, you know, it's again, we continue. Each opponent's different. You know, the first week there was a little bit unknown. New Orleans, you know, they're a very good offense. They do a lot of different things schematically. And New England really keeps you honest with some of the quarterback run plays they've had on third down. But I thought our guys did a really good job last week understanding the plan and executing the plan on third down.
Hey, Paul, looks like they're throwing downfield as much and as well as anyone in the NFL through 3 games. What stood out on film about their deep passing game, and is it a new challenge compared to what you guys saw the last 3 weeks?
Yeah, it's been quite some time since we've went against this team. You know, with the personnel, they've really turned the roster over. The quarterback's a big, strong guy in the pocket. He can run and move from different platforms, and he's got a big arm, so he can make all the throws. You know, they're inviting him to throw the ball down the field some. Off complement of their play action. So he's doing a really good job playing at a high level. And this is a very good young ascending player that we're about to face.
Paul, Sam Gordon here, Las Vegas Review-Journal. What challenges specifically does Stephon Diggs pose to your defense?
He's a very good route runner. He can run all the routes, you know, in cuts, out cuts. He's sudden in and out of his breaks. He's got good double moves. So they utilize him for those kind of things, and he does a good job in blocking. So he's a complete receiver, and he's a good competitive guy. And they move him around a bunch in the slot, at the Z, at the X. So they move him around quite a bit. So it'll be a challenge wherever he's at on the field. And they got some other good pieces too, with some of the other receivers and skill guys. I think they do a nice job of complementing each guy's abilities.
Hey, Paul, Omar here from NFL Network.
Hey, Omar.
You know, England obviously ran the ball pretty well. Is that just a circumstance of them sort of getting a lead and then just kind of pounding on that, or did you see some things kind of glaring in your run defense?
No, I think it's a circumstance. You know, we played really good in the first half for the most part, and in the second half, for some reason, we decided to come out and not tackle the runner. So, I mean, we got to do a better job of tackling. We've made an emphasis of that coming off the COVID thing. No spring practice. You know, training camp was limited with live tackling. And that's something we preached, and so it was disappointing to see. I think we had 19 missed tackles in the game, and that's far too many to win any ball game, let alone against a team like New England. So we got to do a better job of whoever's in the spot to make the play and make the tackle. They got to get the runner on the ground, whether it be a receiver or a running back. So to me, it wasn't so much a scheme thing like their scheme against our thing. It was more or less that the guys at the point of attack missed the plays they needed to make, and then the guys on the back end that was sure that the thing doesn't go longer than it should missed a few big runs. I think they had a 48-yard run and a 100 yards of rushing in 2 plays. So, and then we had a quarterback scramble for 25 yards. So those things are things that can't happen. We got to shore that up.
Hey, Paul, what are you seeing on film for Malik Collins' first 3 games?
Malik's, you know, I think Malik's pressing a little bit too much. We talked to him a little bit this week. He's doing a nice job in the running game. He understands those things. But what I'm trying to get Malik to do is take what he's shown us on the practice field and carry it over into Sundays, because that's really what matters at the end of the day. When we watch him on the practice field in one-on-one pass rush and in practice, the guy really stands out. So he's just got to go in there, do his job, let the things come to him when they present themselves, the one-on-ones and those type of things inside. And I think they'll take care of themselves. But he's got to play at a high level for us to be successful.
Along those same lines, Coach, what have you thought about Cory Littleton and how he's played, and how can you kind of get him more involved?
Cory's been, you know, obviously new in the system, so he's been a little hot and cold with his play. I showed him some plays where he's done really good, and some plays he's not done so good. So he's aware of the things that he needs to clean up. Those are things that we kind of put him in position this week in practice to clean those things up. But again, he's another new guy that each week something in our system may present something different for him to do based upon the opponent. So I think as the time goes, he's going to get better and better as we go.
2 more questions, Vinny and Jerry.
Hey, Paul, Nick Goski's back at practice. You know, if he is able to play on Sunday,
what does that addition mean for you guys and getting your quarterback and guy that gets everybody lined up back off the field?
It's huge because Nick's a really good communicator. This guy came in, he's a new guy again, and he's really picked up our system. It's almost like he's been in the system for 3 or 4 years, like some of the guys I've been accustomed to being around. And he's a vocal leader. He sees a lot on the field as far as how we're set up, getting in and out of calls. He's a very stout run defender. He's good in the pass game, so he'll be a big part of the middle of our defense if he's able to go this week. I look forward to getting him back.
Hey, Paul, Jerry McDonald.
Hey, Jerry.
Have you discovered that getting new players integrated in all 3 levels of defense without the offseason and all that is maybe even more of a challenge than you thought it would be?
Yes and no. I mean, it's just, as you get into the season, it's like, okay, you got to kind of hit these things before you can really talk about opponent-specific stuff. But every team's going through it, so we're just another team that has to go through it. We may have a couple more than normal, so we got to get those guys caught up to speed. Getting Nick back, obviously, this week will help a lot of the guys around him, understanding their roles, and hopefully we can continue to get some of these new guys settled in and playing 11 as one.
Great. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate it.
All right, thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Answer anything I can.
All right. Get started.
Hey, Greg, if you guys are without Henry and Brian, just how much does that limit what you can do offensively?
We don't feel limited at all. Again, I think we've stated at the start of training camp that we feel very good about the depth in the wide receiver room, and we like what we've seen from Zay Jones and Nelson Aguilar since they've been here. So it hurts at any team, you'd say. If you lose a starter, certainly it hurts somewhat. But we've always, again, as we talked about, we've had a next man up mentality, and we feel very comfortable with those guys in our offense.
Hey, Greg, even though Josh Jacobs, he seemed to have a good amount of success running the ball in the first half last week, you guys had to air it out a little bit more as the Patriots went up a little bit more. Is it kind of hard to keep that balance when the score starts, if you get behind in the game, to kind of resist that urge to just go all out with the passing, and how do you keep the run game involved when you fall behind in games like that?
Yeah, certainly that's when you're going against a high-scoring offense or a team. We faced it really against the Saints, in that there's a team that you don't want to fall behind in and become one-dimensional, where you're having to throw the ball to catch up. And I thought we felt like we did a very good job in that game, really of playing complementary football and keeping our defense off the field and be able to remain balanced as an offense. And that's our goal, really, in every game. Let's remain balanced. Let's be very difficult to defend in terms of running the football and throwing the football and use of our personnel groups. So that's the plan, as we say, going into it. And sometimes, unfortunately, the game gets lopsided and it becomes one-dimensional. But we'll try to keep ourselves in the game and stay on schedule and find a way to win it.
Hey, Greg, this is Omar. How you doing, man?
Good. How you doing?
Pretty good.
Good.
You guys, particularly effective there on third down. You're one of the tops in the league in that department. Just, how would you explain that success moving the chains like that?
Well, there's a lot of preparation involved, really, by everybody. We meet. Today's a big day for third downs for us offensively, and we have extensive meetings early in the morning, and we continue in the afternoon, and we get plenty of work out on the practice field. So there's a lot of preparation put into that. I think there's a lot of pride put into it. I think Derek was one of the better quarterbacks a year ago on third downs, and as offensively, again, that's a standard that we kind of set for ourselves offensively, is to be one of the top teams in that situation. And again, part of being really good on third downs is being good on first and second downs, and that's part of going back to that question about staying balanced and being able to run the football early on.
Coach Olson, last week, of course, Darren Waller did not really have the most fantastic performance. Patriots did a lot to disguise their coverages and put a lot of people on Waller. What do you think you're going to do coming up in this game against the Bills to kind of get Waller back to the game plan things?
Yeah, obviously we have a tremendous amount of confidence in Darren, and we'll continue every week to game plan for Darren Waller. He's an important part of what we want to do offensively, and certainly he's one of our most explosive players. So we've got all the confidence in the world in Darren Waller, and moving forward here, that he'll always be a big part of our game plan and what we're trying to do offensively. So There's no confidence lost. It happened in that game where he didn't get a catch until late in the football game, but that doesn't diminish what he is as a player and how we see him and how we plan to keep him involved in the game plan.
Hey, Greg, I want to ask you about Devontae Booker. Is he better than you thought he was? And could that lend itself to you guys running the ball even more than you have already this year?
I don't know if he's better than what we thought he was. I think, a year ago we were looking for a complementary back to Josh, a bigger type back that could handle the load. That was more of a true running back. And we saw that in him in the evaluation. Our scouting department saw that. Mike Mayock and his staff saw that. So we like that part of his game. And he has been a strong runner. He falls forward. He's not a flashy type, again, like you'd see in Josh Jacobs or Theo Riddick, but he is a steady downhill runner. He sees the hole well as he fits it like a running back, again, like a Josh Jacobs. And that's what we wanted, was a heavier, bigger back, and he fills that role for us.
Okay, great. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Go first. Levi? Is he unmuted? Go ahead, Levi.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Cory, this is Levi Edwards with Raiders.com. I'm just want to know, with going into the Buffalo Bills, what is the biggest threat do you see in Josh Allen's game?
He's a mobile quarterback that can extend plays, and he's a tough dude. He honestly puts the game in his hands sometimes, and he's a quarterback that won't give up easily. He's always going to do whatever he can for his team, and we just got to stop that.
Yeah, Cory, Jerry McDonald from the Bay Area News Group. I imagine when you were with the Rams for a couple of years that you knew the defense like the back of your hand. You knew exactly what your teammates were going to do at any given time. You could anticipate those things. Has that challenge with a new team been, tougher than you thought it was? How would you describe how it's been?
I didn't really come into this with any expectations. Me being on a new team is just me being on a new team. This is my first experience rather than my rookie year. And it always comes with some type of challenges, nothing that you can't get over. It's just progression with time,
Well, Paul Guenther just said your plays here have been a little bit hot and cold. How do you assess your play, and how do you maybe eliminate some of the cold parts and become more consistent?
The only thing I can do is do what's coached to me and try to put on the best performance I can. So far, it hasn't been that great, but hey, that's football. There's upswings and there's downswings. Hopefully, get back on track and be the player I want to be.
Very collectively, you guys were adding 7 new players to the defense and a lot of young players as well. Does that take time for a defense to develop cohesiveness so everyone kind of knows where they're supposed to be, where each other are, and is that still a process for you guys?
Meeting anybody new, it's an adjustment period. It's something that we've had to do, and so far we're still working on it. Not saying we're perfect, nowhere near close, but we're on the right track, and the group of guys that I got, I love working with them every day.
Hey, Cory, Paul said you guys had about 19 missed tackles in New England last week, and it's been a point of emphasis this week. How do you fix that sort of, from one week to the next?
There's no real fixing or solution or give anybody no magic sauce. You do your job. We went into the game last week with the intent of just that. Didn't happen in our favor. A lot of guys missed plays, myself included, and you don't want that. So you go into the next game expecting to not let it happen.
Cory, how much does Cam Newton prepare you for Josh Allen?
Very similar in a lot of different areas, which is always a positive when you get to have some carryover from a week before into this week. So whatever we really need to do to be in position to take care of them, it's the most important thing.
One more, Levi?
Hey, Cory, just a second question. Of course, you guys have been banged up on both sides of the ball, but Kwiatkowski's been back at practice, and he's looking like he could potentially suit up. So how will that help you and help the rest of the defense moving forward?
For one, my guy got some fresh legs. He ain't done nothing in a while, so that's always a positive. But Nick is a hard, tough dude that loves ball. I'm happy that he's back out there, and he's going to be a great contributor to his defense. That's all I got.
Okay, great. Thank you, Cory. We're good to go? All right, Jerry.
Hey, Nevin, Jerry McDonald from the Bay Area News Group. How much of a challenge has it been to put together a defense with so many new faces, you know, and no off season? Has it been more of a challenge than you expected? How would you assess it?
It's not really been a challenge. It's definitely different, but it's not really a challenge. I mean, once we got here, you know, everything got back to normal as far as us being in the facility, being able to work with each other. So for me, it hasn't been much of a challenge.
Now, when you look at this Bills offense, what's allowed them just be so productive, especially on some of the deep throws that they've hit this year?
I mean, one, they got a good quarterback, good young quarterback. He has a big arm. I mean, the dude could make any throws on the field. And then they surrounded him with a lot of weapons. So they're very deep at the wide receiver position. They have a good offensive line. They got two good young running backs, and they got a quarterback that also knows how to improvise. So if the plays break down, he could extend the plays and make plays that's not scripted.
Nevin, Sam Gordon here, Las Vegas Review-Journal. Obviously, a lot of young defensive backs on this team. How have you embraced your role as kind of one of the older guys, somebody who's been around and has a lot of experience in that secondary?
I mean, I embraced it well, man. You know, like I told the guys before, I'm here for them. You know what I'm saying? Whatever they need, whatever anything they got going on, if they want to pick my brain with anything, I'm here for that. And I also told them that I learned from them as well, because I feel like this football is like life and the Bible. You never stop learning. So I can learn from them as well. So, I mean, I embrace my role, and I'm very excited about it.
And Nevin, this is Vic. You've had a good career, but one number that kind of jumps out is the interceptions, the 0 interceptions. That's something that bugs you at all? You look back on the close calls, or what's your mental process about the lack of interceptions?
Nothing really. Just getting ready for the next game, you know, and hopefully when that opportunity comes, I could capitalize on it.
Hey, Nevin, Trayvon Mullins had a nice start to the season. From being alongside him, do you think he's made a leap this year? And if so, where have you seen him improve?
I feel like he definitely made a leap this year, and it's all mental. I feel like it was always mental for him because he has the physical trait to be one of the best corners in this league. He continued to build his mindset. As you see, he's a very mature young man for his age. He's very smart. He wants to be great. He pushes himself. I think he's more hard on himself than anybody else. So sometimes you know, I have to talk to him, just relax a little bit and just don't be too hard on yourself, even though that's a good thing, you know. So I feel like his roof is limitless, and he could be as good as he want to be.